He found out I was texting a dad from our kids' school. Now he's in DC and serving me papers. What happens when a simple text to another dad at your kid's school turns into a secret no one saw coming? When he found out, everything changed, trust shattered, walls went up, and suddenly, legal papers were served straight from DC. But that's just the beginning. There's more behind the scenes, hidden feelings, betrayals, and a twisted love triangle that no one expected. This isn't just a story about messages, it's about passion, secrets, and the dangerous game of hearts. Stay with me, because this roller coaster is about to get even hotter, and the truth will shock you. I never thought a simple text message could turn my life upside down. It started out as just a casual conversation, nothing more than exchanging a few words with another parent from my kid's school. You know how it is, right? Sometimes you just want to talk to someone who understands what you're going through. But I had no idea that those texts would spark a chain of events I couldn't have prepared for. The moment he found out I was texting that dad, everything changed. Suddenly, the man I thought I knew became someone I barely recognized. At first, I didn't think much of it. It felt innocent, just friendly chats about school events and the kids' homework. But then the mood shifted. What started as a simple message exchange turned into something far more complicated. His suspicion grew, and I could see the coldness creeping into his eyes whenever I mentioned the other parent. I tried to brush it off, thinking maybe I was overreacting. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. Before I could even fully understand what was happening, I got a call that sent chills down my spine. He was in Washington, D.C., and it wasn't just for a work trip or a casual visit. No, this time, he was serving me papers, legal papers. I won't lie, hearing that made my heart drop. Questions flooded my mind. Why DC? Why now? And most importantly, what did those papers mean for us, for our family? There's so much more to this story, things that no one outside our circle knows. The secrets, the lies, the fears. And I'm sitting here, trying to make sense of it all while wondering how it even got this far. I want to tell you everything, but right now, it's all tangled up in confusion and pain. This isn't just about texts or misunderstandings anymore. It's about what happens when trust breaks and lives get thrown into chaos. I'm sharing this story because I know I'm not alone. Maybe you've faced something like this, or maybe you're curious how one small choice can spiral into something much bigger. Whatever it is, this is just the beginning. And trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next. It all started a few months ago, when I noticed how stressful things had become at home. Our relationship wasn't what it used to be, and with the kids' school and everything else piling up, I felt more alone than ever. That's when I found myself reaching out more to other parents, just looking for someone to talk to. The dad from school seemed nice enough, easy to talk to, and honestly, it was comforting to share little frustrations and parenting challenges with someone who actually got it. Nothing inappropriate, just conversations that helped me breathe a little. But I guess it wasn't just me who noticed. My partner, he became quiet, distant, and started watching my phone more. At first, I thought maybe he was stressed too, or maybe I was imagining things. But then the questions came. Who were you texting? Why are you talking to him so much? His tone changed, there was suspicion, hurt, maybe even anger hiding behind those words. I tried to explain, but it was like no matter what I said, it wasn't enough. The more I reassured him, the more he pulled away. And then things escalated faster than I ever expected. I heard about trips to DC, late-night calls, and a sudden lawyer's involvement. It felt like the ground beneath me was shifting. Why DC? Why now? I was left piecing together fragments, whispers of legal papers, talks about custody, and secrets that neither of us wanted to face openly. The man who was supposed to be my partner suddenly felt like a stranger with a hidden agenda. I'm still trying to understand what this means for our family. How did texting one parent from school lead us here? What's really driving him to take such a serious step? There's a lot more beneath the surface, things I can't share yet, but they're tearing us apart. The weight of what's coming feels heavy, and I'm bracing myself for whatever happens next, because I know this story is far from over. What makes this even harder is how many layers there are to the conflict now. It's not just about the texts anymore, it's about trust, control, and the unspoken things that have been simmering beneath the surface for a long time. I've been asking myself if he ever really trusted me, or if this was something waiting to explode all along. There's this constant feeling that I'm walking on eggshells, never sure what might set him off next. And the fact that he's taken this to DC, involving lawyers and paperwork, makes it all feel so official, so serious. It's like our private struggles have suddenly become public battles. Meanwhile, the dad from school, the one who started all this, has been caught in the middle without even realizing it. At first, I thought he might just fade away, a small piece of the puzzle. But it turns out, he's more involved than I expected. There are rumors, little things shared in passing by other parents, that maybe he's not as innocent as I thought. Is there more to those messages than just friendly talks? Or is it just the way people twist stories when they want to make things worse? I don't know, but it's another thread in this tangled mess. And then there's the kids. They don't understand any of this, but I see the confusion in their eyes. The tension in the house is thick, and it's starting to affect them. I worry about what they'll remember from all this. Will they know the truth? Or will they just carry the silence and questions? That thought scares me more than anything else. I'm caught between trying to keep things together for them and figuring out how to deal with what's happening to me. Every day feels like walking a tightrope, unsure which way things will fall. And while I wait for the next move, the weight of uncertainty is almost too much to bear. What will come when he finally serves those papers? What's really behind all of this? I'm still searching for answers, and hoping there's still a way out. Days passed, and the silence between us grew heavier, filled with unspoken words and tension that neither of us dared to break. Every glance felt like a question, every phone notification sent my heart racing with dread. I couldn't stop thinking about those papers. What exactly did they say? What was he accusing me of? And why was this all happening now, after months of pretending everything was okay? The nights became the hardest. I'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling, trying to piece together how things spiraled so far out of control. Was it just texting? Or was there something else, some deeper wound we never addressed? The feeling of being watched, judged, even betrayed, haunted me. And then there was the dad from school. I kept wondering if he knew how much chaos had erupted because of those simple messages. Did he see it coming? Was he scared? Or was he oblivious to the storm brewing? Then came the phone call that shook me to my core. His voice was cold, distant, almost unrecognizable. "I'm in DC," he said, "and the papers will be served soon." There was no anger in his tone, just a quiet determination that sent chills down my spine. It was a warning, a line drawn in the sand. No turning back. I felt trapped between fear and fury, desperate to fight for my family but unsure where to start. The kids were watching, sensing the shift but too young to understand the battle unfolding around them. And I was left wondering if this was the end of everything we once had. The clock was ticking, and the moment I dreaded was closer than ever. What would happen when those papers were finally in my hands? How would I face him after all this? The answers felt just out of reach, wrapped in shadows and silence. All I knew was that everything was about to change, and I wasn't ready for what came next. Just when I thought I had braced myself for the worst, everything took another unexpected turn. A few days before the papers were supposed to be served, I got a message, not from him, but from the dad at school. His words were careful, almost hesitant. He said he needed to talk, that there was something I didn't know, something that could change everything. My heart raced. What else was there? How much deeper did this go? Meeting him felt like stepping into a storm. He looked nervous, like he was carrying a weight he couldn't put down. He told me he'd found out something about my partner, something secret, something dangerous. Apparently, the trip to DC wasn't just about the papers. There were people involved, conversations I wasn't meant to hear, and decisions being made far beyond my understanding. Suddenly, the simple story of a strained relationship and suspicious texts felt tiny compared to what was really happening behind the scenes. I didn't know whether to trust him or fear him. His warning only made the walls close tighter. If what he said was true, then I wasn't just dealing with a broken marriage, I was caught in a bigger, more complicated game. The stakes were higher than I ever imagined. And the more I learned, the less certain I felt about who was really on my side. Now, the countdown to the papers arriving was ticking louder, but beneath it all, a new danger was growing, one I hadn't seen coming. I was no longer just trying to hold my family together, I was trying to survive a situation that was quickly spiraling out of control. And with every passing moment, the tension built until it felt like everything could explode at any second. What I didn't know was how far this storm would reach, or how much it would change my life forever. The day the papers arrived felt like the world stopped spinning for a moment. When the process server handed them to me, my hands trembled as I took the envelope. Inside was the official notice, he was filing for custody, and the reasons were tangled up in every fear I had. The text messages with the other dad were painted as evidence of something unfit, and suddenly, my private conversations were twisted into a weapon against me. The man I loved, or thought I did, was now my adversary in a fight that felt impossible to win. But just as I was sinking under the weight of it all, the dad from school stepped forward again, this time with something that shattered everything. He had been quietly gathering proof, messages, emails, even recordings, that showed my partner had been hiding secrets of his own, far worse than the texts I'd sent. Financial troubles, lies about his work trips, even talks about moving the kids without telling me. It was clear he had been preparing this custody battle long before I ever sent a single message. With this new evidence, everything flipped. The narrative changed from me being the untrustworthy one to a much bigger picture of deception and control. I hired a lawyer, and for the first time in months, I felt a glimmer of hope. The fight wasn't over, but I wasn't alone anymore. Just when I thought I was beginning to breathe again, the final twist hit like a punch to the gut. The dad from school confessed something I hadn't seen coming, he wasn't just a bystander. He had feelings for me, feelings he'd been hiding behind those friendly texts. And his involvement wasn't just about helping me, it was personal. Suddenly, everything was more complicated. The man I reached out to for support had his own secrets, and now, trust was fragile in every direction. The story that began with a simple text had turned into a maze of lies, betrayal, and unexpected alliances. And as the courtroom battles loomed, I was left wondering, not just how this would end, but if anyone would come out of it unscathed. After everything came to light, the custody battle became more than just a fight over where the kids would live. It turned into a test of truth, trust, and what family really means. With both sides revealing their secrets, the court had to look beyond the surface, the texts, the trips, and the papers, and see the bigger picture of two people trying to protect their children in the middle of a storm. In the end, the judge made a decision that surprised me. Instead of choosing sides, the focus shifted to what was best for the kids: stability, love, and safety. We were encouraged to find common ground, to co-parent without the bitterness that had filled our home for so long. It wasn't a perfect solution, but it was one that allowed us to start healing. I realized then that sometimes the hardest battles don't end with clear winners or losers, they end with a fragile peace built on honesty and effort. As for the dad from school, his feelings added an unexpected layer to the story, but I chose to keep things simple for the sake of my kids. What mattered most was honesty and boundaries, and I learned to appreciate the support without complicating things further. His role became a reminder that even in chaos, connections can be real, but they have to be handled carefully. Looking back, I understand how a few text messages could spiral into something so much bigger. It taught me about the dangers of secrets and misunderstandings, but also about resilience. Life doesn't always go as planned, and sometimes the people you trust the most can surprise you in ways you never expected. But through it all, the most important thing is holding on to what truly matters: the well-being of those you love. This story isn't just mine. It's about the messy, complicated reality of relationships and family. And if there's one thing I hope you take away, it's this: communication, trust, and kindness can be fragile, but they're worth fighting for even when everything feels like it's falling apart.